You know, as far as things go, we humans got some really weird body parts. I mean, really think of it. Toes, fingers, lips, it's all pretty weird, isn't it, when you think about it? However, despite their strange nature and appearance, these parts are natural for us. It would be weird for us not to have been born with them. And then there are people who were born with a little bit of extra. Some people get lucky, maybe an extra joint in their muscles or perhaps an extra belly button, something mainly unnoticeable and you won't be ridiculed for. And then you got people who are basically two people in one. That brings us to today's subject. We're going to talk about the strangest body parts people have been born with. Number 10. LAKSHMI TATMA. LAKSHMI TATMA is definitely not your usual girl. This poor young child was born with an astounding and very disturbing 8 limbs. Now obviously this is different from our usual 4 limbs with 2 arms and 2 legs. Poor LAKSHMI though was born with what appears to be 2 extra arms and 2 extra legs. On top of all that though, she also has an extra torso growing out of where her waist should begin. Her lower limbs are completely deformed and irregularly shaped. This was said to be the result of a twin forming in the womb, but merging with LAKSHMI during that period. Thankfully though, LAKSHMI did receive a very risky but amazing operation that separated the girl from her extra baggage. And to my knowledge, she's still doing fantastic. Number 9. KANG. KANG is a special child, just sadly not the kind that gets a Disney movie dedicated to them. KANG had the misfortune of being born with 2 faces, one on top of the other. Or at least that's what it appears. KANG has been born with what has been diagnosed as a congenital defect known as transverse facial cleft. This made it so the child's smile would reach his ears, making it seem as if he had a second face or even a very disturbing mask. There's no official explanation for this condition, and it's been theorized that it could be anything from a bad infection during the embryonic stage, bad medication, or simply just a freak accident. While I couldn't find much on the poor kid currently, last we heard is the parents are trying to get an operation done to fix him. Number 8. MANAR. MANAR was an Egyptian native who was born with a very alarming deformity in the form of a second head on top of her own. This is an example of a parasitic twin like before, kinda like our first entry wherein a child would grow extra limbs. This in turn caused poor Maged to suffer from pneumonia and heart trouble. This head was sadly needed though, as it shared a blood vessel with her brain and was unfortunately vital to the girl living. Despite all this though, the head could actually function in a limited capacity, being able to blink and smile and not much else. MANAR underwent surgery to remove the extra head at 10 months old. While the actual removal of the head was successful, there was complications, and a few months afterwards she sadly passed away. Number 7. Hong. Another Chinese native, Hong got off a little... Okay, no, he didn't get easier than KANG. While KANG was born with a mask, Hong was born with 15 fingers and 16 toes. This makes it a total of 31 limbs for this poor little guy. And heck, if that wasn't enough, the poor kid was also born with 2 palms on each hand and lacks opposable thumbs. This, however, isn't totally unexpected in a way. This is caused from a condition called polydactylism, where an individual is born with extra fingers and toes. Hong's mother actually has 6 fingers, and this condition is hereditary, so it's very unsurprising the boy has this condition. It's simply just alarming he has such a variety. Number 6. George Lippert. German native George Lippert was a man born with 3 legs, 1 on his left, and then 2 conjoined legs on his right side. Lippert, however, took his mutation in stride, actually using it for his own career. With his mutation being a great benefit for him, Lippert was a part of P.T. Barnum's circus regularly, as well as a few others, showing off his deformed body and acting as a curiosity for nearly 50 years. George even claimed that the leg used to be functional before an accident. While he claims to be the original 3-legged man, his career started to dip when a 3-legged boy named Frank Lentini started to become bigger in the freak show business. This caused George to become penniless and live out his days in the home of a friend, where he passed away from tuberculosis. Number 5. ZHANG RUIFANG. 101 years old at the time of 2010 and an awesome grandma all around, ZHANG RUIFANG was known for a rather strange horn that was growing out of the side of her head. This is an example of a condition called cutaneous horn, which is a growth comprised of keratin. Keratin is the material in which our fingernails are made out of and constantly grow. While it would be a nuisance to some, ZHANG actually refused to have it removed, despite doctors offering the removal for free. She absolutely loved her horn, enjoying the attention and well wishes that she was receiving due to the deformity. She even joked that she was in the process of growing a second one for even more attention. Family couldn't convince her, and doctors couldn't. Like that horn, ZHANG was immovable. Number 4. Three-armed baby. I couldn't actually find a name for this one, but there was this girl in Pakistan who was born with an astonishing 3 arms. Similar to George, her right side has 1 arm, and her left has 2 conjoined arms, and seem to both function fine. This is apparently a very rare condition that affects 1 in a million babies, with the extra arm being joined directly with her spinal cord. This condition is called polymelia, and while it's said that it's a 1 in a million occurrence, the same event occurred once more in a Sukkur hospital where a baby was born with 6 legs. There really isn't much info here, much like the lack of her name, but what I could find is the hospital said they were ready to amputate it, so I can only assume it hopefully went well for her. Number 3. Shaolin. No official name for this one, and only going by a moniker, we come to our first purposefully mutated individual, and also really our last for this one. Shaolin's nose was rendered useless due to a bad infection caused by nasal trauma. This in turn causes cartilage to corrode, making his nose effectively useless. However, he did receive a new nose when surgeons decided to grow him a new nose. On his forehead. Okay, yeah, I'll admit it might seem a strange place, but apparently this is actually a common practice for facial reconstruction. And once the nose is ready, they will then remove the old nose and graft the new nose on its place. Not exactly glamorous, but hey, it's effective. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's best pick is lewd, to say the least. I mean, really, do I need to explain more here? I mean, really, the picture already implies it perfectly. Fine. Family content doesn't matter anymore at this point. With that said, though, let's see number 2. The man with 2 penises. This is a condition known as diphalia, and it affects 1 in 5.5 million men and is caused by irregular homeobox genes during pregnancy. The recipient of this condition, who goes by the apt name of Double Dick Dude on Twitter, has been pretty prideful on his 2 additions and has amassed quite a following. He said it doesn't actually hinder him too much, but if he doesn't do proper rituals, then he has problems such as inflamed prostate. Women want him, and men are probably happy with what we have already, to be honest. You know, I don't envy this guy personally. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Number 1. DEEPAK PASWAN. DEEPAK PASWAN of India is a boy with a very bad case of parasitic twin syndrome. Rather than having just extra limbs or fingers, this poor kid has an entire friggin' body growing out of his chest cavity. Yeah, let's see here. We got legs, terrifying stubby arms, deformed fingers, and just a very depressed looking kid right there. This kid has got it pretty rough, to say the least. The body of his deformed twin hangs from his chest with no actual functions and just sits there, kinda dead. While this might be a very difficult photo to look at, especially if you're a little squeamish, there is a happy ending for this kid, as DEEPAK received surgery to remove his twin, which was very successful. And since then, he's gone on to live a normal and quiet life. I'm happy for the kid. And that is our video for today, folks. I do hope you enjoyed it. What was the most disturbing deformity to you? Tell me, do you know of anyone with a deformity? Or perhaps do you have a deformity yourself? Trust me, we're not here to judge, we're here to support. Let us know in the comments section down below, and also maybe give us a like and subscribe if you're so inclined. With all that said and done though, I'll see you all next time. Later everybody!